Content note: this episode covers domestic violence and the murder of a young woman. Please look after yourselves.
September 1st, 2021. A white van pulls into a driveway in Northport, Florida. Brian Laundrie, 23, gets out. He goes inside. His parents come outside to help unload.
Gabby Petito is not in the van.
Gabby Petito, his fiancée, 22 years old, the person he left home with 2 months earlier on a cross-country road trip they were documenting together for social media, is not in the van. Brian goes inside. He doesn't call Gabby's family. He doesn't call police. He says nothing.
For 10 days.
For 10 days, Brian Laundrie says nothing, and then Gabby's family reports her missing. And then the internet, which had been watching Gabby's trip unfold on Instagram and YouTube and TikTok for months, becomes the most chaotic and consequential missing persons investigation in recent American history.
Welcome to HILLarious Media. I'm Cindy.
I'm Dylan. Episode 27, The Gabby Petito Case. A recent one, a complicated one. Let's get into it.
Gabrielle Petito, Gabby, born March 19, 1999, in Smithtown, New York, 22 years old. She and Brian Laundrie had been together since high school. They got engaged in July 2020. In June 2021, they set out on a cross-country van trip, a blue and white Ford Transit, with a plan to visit national parks across the American West.
And they were documenting it.
Documenting everything. Instagram posts, YouTube vlogs, TikTok content. Gabby had built a following around the van life aesthetic. The last YouTube video she posted showed the two of them smiling, hiking, cooking in the van. Normal couple on an adventure content.
And behind the content?
Behind the content, things were not okay. On August 12, 2021, police in Moab, Utah, responded to a 911 call about a domestic dispute. Body camera footage from that stop showed Gabby visibly distressed, crying, describing herself as having hit Brian first. Officers separated them and decided to make no arrests.
The police separated them and made no arrests.
They separated them for the night and let them go. That was August 12th. Gabby was last seen alive on August 27th at a restaurant in Jackson, Wyoming. She was reported missing on September 11th.
Here's where this case becomes unlike almost anything we've covered before. When Gabby was reported missing, TikTok became an active investigative community.
Because Gabby had been posting her location in real time for months.
Her Instagram posts, her YouTube vlogs, the geotags on photos, people were able to retroactively track her movements. TikTok users were identifying locations from background details in her posts, cross-referencing with campground records, building a timeline of where the couple had been.
And some of it was genuinely useful.
Genuinely useful. A woman named Miranda Baker posted a TikTok saying she had picked up Brian Laundrie hitchhiking alone near Jackson, Wyoming on August 29th, 2 days after Gabby was last seen alive. That TikTok was seen by millions and became significant in establishing Brian's movements.
So TikTok users contributed real evidence.
Real substantive evidence that made it into the official investigation, which is a genuinely new thing in how missing persons cases work.
But
the darker side is that the internet attention was overwhelming, often misdirected, and occasionally harmful. People were identifying the wrong individuals as suspects and flooding them with harassment, and the media circus was enormous in a way that, as we'll get to, was not evenly distributed.
We have to talk about missing white woman syndrome. And I want to be clear before we do, this is not a criticism of Gabby Petito or her family. This is a criticism of the system that decided her case was worth wall-to-wall coverage while dozens of other missing persons cases received almost nothing.
The term missing white woman syndrome was coined by journalist Gwen Ithell to describe the disproportionate media attention given to cases involving young, conventionally attractive white women compared to cases involving women of color, indigenous women, or women from marginalized communities. communities.
And the Gabby Petito case was the clearest recent example of that disparity in action.
While Gabby's case dominated every news cycle in September 2021, there were hundreds of other missing persons cases receiving almost no coverage. Indigenous women specifically. Missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls is a documented crisis. In September 2021, that crisis was essentially invisible in mainstream media.
Journalists and advocates pointed this out in real time. People were saying it while the coverage was happening.
And the response was often defensive, but Gabby's case is newsworthy. We cover what gets engagement. Those responses miss the point entirely.
The point isn't that Gabby's case shouldn't have been covered. The point is that the criteria by which we decide what gets coverage are deeply shaped by race and class, and that has real consequences for families whose loved ones disappear and receive nothing.
Every family whose missing daughter or sister or mother didn't get a fraction of the coverage Gabby received deserved better. That's the sentence this conversation ends on.
Gabby's remains were found on September 19, 2021 in Bridger-Teton National Forest, Wyoming. Cause of death? Manual strangulation. She had been dead for 3 to 4 weeks.
And Brian Laundrie?
He had disappeared from his family home on September 17th, 2 days before Gabby's body was found. A massive search of Carlton Reserve began. His partial skeletal remains were found October 20th, 2021, alongside a backpack and notebook. Cause of death? Self-inflicted gunshot wound. The notebook contained a written confession. Brian Laundrie admitted to killing Gabby Petito.
And the FBI closed the investigation in August 2022. Laundrie confirmed as solely responsible. No other suspects.
No trial, no charges. Gabby's family has pursued civil litigation against the Laundrie family and against the Moab Police Department over their handling of the August 12th domestic incident.
The August 12th stop haunts this case.
It haunts it completely. If police had responded differently, if they had followed domestic violence protocol more rigorously, what happens? We can't know, but the question doesn't go away.
What is the lesson of the Gabby Petito case?
Several. The body camera footage from August 12th is now used in domestic violence training because it shows so clearly how victims can minimize and take blame for abuse in front of authorities. Gabby was describing a situation where she was being harmed and framing herself as the problem. Recognizing that pattern earlier can save lives.
The August 12th footage as a training tool is genuinely one of the more meaningful legacies of a case this devastating.
And the missing white woman syndrome conversation, which has been had before but never quite this loudly, is a legacy too. Whether it changes anything in practice is still being tested.
Gabby Petito was a real person. 22 years old, she liked van life and national parks and making content and her dog. She deserved to come home.
She deserved to come home, and so did every person whose disappearance didn't make the news.
Thank you for being here for episode 27. I'm Dylan.
I'm Cindy. If you or someone you know is experiencing domestic violence, the National Domestic Violence Hotline is 1-800-799-7233. Available 24 hours. Link in the description. Take care of each other.